let's take a look at something a little lighter for real this time. Graham, so I'm a big music guy, and there's a couple music-centric birthdays today. First of all, James Ramsey from Fire Tiger, friend of ours, friend of the show. Fire Tiger, it's James's birthday. Happy birthday, James. Hope you're having an awesome one. And also, another birthday today, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh,
it is Bruce Springsteen's birthday, man. Happy 71st to the boss himself. And I guess he has a new album out, Letter to You. Bruce has got a new album out. So it looks like it's probably a more solo style record, at least based on this photo. But I don't know. But I don't know anything about the album. But I'm hoping for a Raucous E Street record next. That's what I want. But anyway, Graham, so to celebrate Bruce's birthday, first of all, I was going to ask you, do you have his favorite Springsteen tune?
Well, I got to go Born to Run just because.
There you go. Dude, it's beautiful.
It's still, it's one of those songs that, there's some music you remember when you were younger and it cranked and you listen to it now and you go, it doesn't hold up. But you listen to Born to Run and you're like, damn, the opening of it, and it's just like, that song. Yeah, I love that song.
Me too. It's one of my favorites. It's a beautiful song. It's a classic song. But in honor of Springsteen's birthday, I'm going to give you some other Springsteen recommendations, and then I'll give you another just random music music suggestion, and then in return, you have to give me a movie that I have to watch this weekend or at some point, and that's how we'll do this. So Springsteen. We'll start with Springsteen. You got to check out first from the album right before Born to Run. There's an album called The Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle. And if you've never heard it, you got to check out the track. I mean, the entire album's fantastic, but the track Rosalita is, I think, really captures what early E Street Band and early Springsteen is all about. It's one of my favorite songs in the whole wide world. Rosalita off the Wild, the Innocent, and the E Street Shuffle. And then we'll go back a little further to the first album, Greetings from Asbury Park, the track that I think really captures that premier Springsteen album where they wanted to make him the next Dylan, but he wanted to do something a little bit different. Right. And he was really feeling the scratch of the E Street Band, and he wanted them to be part of it. I really feel like that essence is captured in a beautiful, beautiful song that's really about growing pains because it is called Growing Up. So
great song.
Go. Oh, you already know Growing Up. All right.
Yeah.
So
I know a lot of Bruce's music. I'll say that. I know a lot of Bruce's music, and I probably could have picked something a little more obscure, but Born to Run still. Like, I love Growing Up. I love Thunder Road. That stuff is amazing.
But Rosalita, you're not aware of. Is that correct?
I don't think I'm aware. If I heard it, I might say, oh, I've heard that song.
You might recognize it when you hear it. But all right, so the last one is going to be a little more obscure then, because this is something more on his outspoken end of the spectrum. I'm going to recommend Devils and Dust off the album Devils and Dust, which came out in, I believe, 04 or 05. It's a newer album, but I think it really captures Springsteen's acoustic essence. I think it is every bit as good as Nebraska. People will dispute that, but I think Devils and Dust is maybe his most underrated album. And it really captures the anger towards the Bush administration. And I think it really captures our contemporary time in a very evergreen way. So Devils and Dust, that's the third one. Nice. And then the band that I'm just going to recommend straight up to you, man, is a band called Japan Droids. They're a power duo out of Vancouver, British Columbia, and they play just rock and roll, man. They're just a power duo, and they're one of the bands that I always listen to get pumped up. So I've spent many a times in a hotel room before one of our shows, or basically, actually, more likely in the fitness center in the hotel room, doing a little run, getting a little run in while listening to Japan Droids. So I recommend Japan Droids, their first album, Celebration Rock, which you can find on YouTube. I recommend just streaming that entire album.
Is it spelled like Japan, like Japan Droids? Okay.
Japan Droids. It is spelled exactly how it sounds, just Japan Droids. And yeah, check it out. So there you go. Some Springsteen tracks in honor of his birthday. And now you got to hit me with a movie. And you can pick more than one since I threw like a bunch of random stuff.
Well, have you ever seen the movie Network?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, that's for the audience then. That's a recommendation for the audience. Watch.
So I'm not. Network is like my Born to Run, you know, in movies. No, that is one of my favorite movies. Network is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah, directed by Sidney Lumet. It predicts the state that we are in today. It is
Very
unbelievable. When you have revolutionaries negotiating deal points for their TV series. In the 70s, it seemed outlandish, but they basically predicted the reality TV show. So I would recommend, so that's in terms of like talking about what's happening today, there's a movie that very much predicted it. I would also, this is just touches my heart, this movie, The Gray Fox, and it's with Richard Farnsworth. It came out in the 80s, very less, it didn't get a lot of play, but it was shot in Vancouver and all around British Columbia. And Richard Farnsworth plays a guy that was in jail for like 20, 30 years for robbing stagecoaches. When he gets out, the Industrial Revolution has happened, and he can't get a job. So it's kind of relevant today. We were talking about private prisons. You know, it's hard for him to get a job because he's a convicted felon. And so he starts robbing trains. But he's this like gentleman, and it's Richard Farnsworth.
That sounds like a fun movie.
Oh my God. And there's beautiful shots of it. Like if you can, I got to see
Vancouver. Vancouver is one of the most beautiful places in the freaking world. I love that city. I love that city, which by the way, hopefully, if the world goes back to normal, Vancouver, we will see you in 2021.
Yes.
That's on the extensive list right now.
And they shoot a lot around British Columbia. So there's these big wide sweeping shots of these like mountains. And so try to watch it on the biggest screen possible. So there's that. And
I'll watch it on this.
Yeah, I'll watch it on that one.
Yeah, I'll watch on, that's the biggest screen I got.
And so it's yeah, that movie, anything with Richard Farnsworth. And then getting back to political stuff, I would always say watch 3 Days of the Condor. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Okay, that's with Robert Redford. It takes place in the 70s. Max von Sydow plays like a CIA hitman. And Robert Redford is just like a CIA analyst. He's not like a covert guy or whatever, and stumbles across something that he shouldn't have, and now he's on the run from the CIA. And Faye Dunaway's in it, and it really is. I bring this up because the CIA has basically bought up show business, and so there's no movies showing how awful the CIA is anymore. The CIA is always represented very positive light, like, oh, maybe they do some underhanded tricks, but they're great.
Yeah, I felt the only thing as of recent that I've seen that I felt pushed it a little bit while still kind of staying in the boundaries was the Punisher series on Netflix.
Right. Again,
I felt like they pushed it. They pushed it more than I was expecting.
Yep. And again, if they do it, they have to hide it in a superhero movie that streams on Netflix. Like it's not. It's all this, like the CIA has script approval on all the big Marvel movies and stuff like that. So the CIA has had offices in Hollywood since the late 40s, early 50s. And this movie, 3 Days of the Condor, is a really well-made movie. And it was maybe done in 75, 76, somewhere in that era. And it's great. Robert Redford, Faye Dunaway. And then... yeah, that's the movie I would recommend. I recommend 3 Days of the Condor on Netflix is like back-to-back viewing.
Okay, 3 Days of the Condor, Gray Fox. Oh, and by the way, I see everybody in the chat. This has been an ongoing thing for me that is well-deserved. And it started, I think it originated on the Jimmy Dore show, I'm pretty sure. But I have not seen Dr. Strangelove. Oh. I know I need to see Dr. Strangelove. I know it's on the list. I'm gonna see Dr. Strangelove, I swear. And we're gonna do a segment on it when I do. We're gonna do a big old segment that it's like Ron's seen it. And I'll be like, oh man, it'll be like when a buddy of mine like heard Nirvana for the first time and he was already in his 30s and he had never heard Nirvana before. And it was like I was almost kind of envious of him. I'm like, dude, you're welcome to the party.
Have you seen 2001? Have you seen any of Kubrick's early stuff?
I haven't seen 2001, no.
Jesus Christ.
I know. I'm not cool. I'm not cool when it comes to movies. I mean, I have a couple. I've seen Network. I have a couple. I have a couple obscure wins. Like The Cradle Will Rock is one of my favorite movies. Like okay. I have my I have my moments where it's like, oh, all right, but then some of the it's like, really, you haven't. And then whenever my wife and I are looking for, we'll be like, oh, let's just binge Unsolved Mysteries or something like that. And I'm like, we should really be doing something a little better here, or we'll try some like.
I can't have you watch old episodes of Unsolved Mysteries when you're not watching.
I know,
movies like Dr. Strangelove in 2001. Like I just can't.
It's the equivalent of like junk food. It's sort of just like,
right.
Well, there's all these. I've never had an apple before. I've heard a lot about them, but I've never had one. But I'm just gonna have apple flavored candy again instead tonight. Like that's basically what I do whenever I'm like, I'm gonna watch something and I mean, there's a time to veg out. There's nothing wrong with that. But occasionally you got to eat yourself the metaphorical apple and watch something like 2001, Dr. Strangelove.
Have you ever watched Hard Day's Night, the Beatles movie?
Yes, I have. Yes. Okay. Yes, Hard Day. Well, now when it comes to those types of things, I'm a little like music style movies. Sure. I mean, Quadrophenia is one of my favorite films. Okay. I've seen that. I've seen Tommy. I've seen Hard Day's Night. I've seen a bunch of random Elvis movies. I saw that one movie where Aerosmith plays the bad guys doing Come Together. I've seen those movies. But I got it. All right. So we both have our movie and music recommendations in honor of the boss and James from Fire Tiger, which check out Fire Tiger's new album. You can find it over at firetigermusic.com.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and make